Stanley Milgram's behavioral study of obedience experiment measured the willingness of participants to obey an authority figure who instructed them to perform acts that conflicted with their personal conscience. Stanley Milgram was also a social psychologist at Harvard University and the City University of New York. He is known for his conducting the small world experiment, which was like 6 degrees of separation at Harvard University. Stanley Milgram was a social psychologist also at Yale University, where he was known for his risky experiment of the obedience. Milgram wanted to examine the idea of obedience to authority. Milgram's theoretical basis for this study was that humans have a tendency to obey people who are in position of authority, even if obeying they violate their personal codes of moral and ethical behavior. He believed that, for example, many individuals who would never intentionally cause someone physical harm would inflict pain on a victim if ordered to do so by a person whom they perceived to be a powerful authority figure. Milgram developed a scary-looking shock generator, an electric device with 30 toggle switches labeled with voltage levels starting at 30 volts and increasing by 15-volt intervals up to 450 volts. This was a very realistic-looking device, but no one actually ever received any painful shocks in this experiment. The participants for this study were 40 males between the ages of 20 and 50. All participants were clearly told that they would be paid simply for coming to the laboratory, no matter what happened after they arrived. In addition to the participants, 2 other key actors were involved. One who was posing as a victim, and the other who was posing as an experimenter, dressed in a gray lab coat looking very official. The teacher in this experiment, who was also the participant, was asked to read a list of words, and the learner would respond on which he remembered. On each incorrect answer, the teacher was instructed to up the voltage. The learner started to shout and was in clear pain as the teacher saw it. Most of the participants would turn to the experimenter at some point for guidance on whether to continue shock or not. When this happened, the experimenter would give a series of commands. Command 1, please continue. Command 2, the experiment requires that you continue. Command 3, it is essential that you continue. Command 4, you have no other choice, you must go on. This was the setup of the experiment. The teacher and the experimenter were on one side of the wall, the student located on the other. The teacher could not see anything that the student did, but could hear them. Most surprisingly, with the results of this experiment, the number of participants who obeyed orders to continue all the way to the top of the scale. Although 14 participants defied orders and broke off before reaching the maximum voltage, 26 of the 40 participants, or 65%, followed the experiment's orders and proceeded to the top of the shock scale. The result of this experiment did support Milgram's theory. Milgram's discussion of his findings focused on 2 main points. The first was the surprising strength of the participants' tendency to obey. These were average, normal people, not cruel individuals in any way. They agreed to participate in the experiments about learning. Clearly, it was a situation that carried a force on its own that somehow created an atmosphere of obedience. The second key observation made during the course of the study was the extreme tension and anxiety manifested by the participants as they obeyed the experimenter's command. Milgram quotes one observer by saying, "I observed a mature and initially poised businessman enter the laboratory smiling and confident. Within 20 minutes, he was reduced to a twitching, stuttering wreck, who was rapidly approaching a point of nervous collapse. At one point, he pushed his fist into his forehead and muttered, 'Oh God, let it stop!' And yet he continued to respond in every word of the experimenter and obeyed until the end." Although Milgram's research has been extremely influential in our understanding of obedience, many critics strongly disagree with his findings. Critics of Milgram's methods claim that unacceptable levels of stress were created in the participants during the experiment. They also believe that because of the trusting and rather independent relationship with the experimenter and the laboratory was an unfamiliar setting, the results of Milgram's studies were not only invalid, but because of his poor findings, the treatment his participants were exposed to could not be justified. Milgram's Obedience Project continues to have current research being evaluated today. Thomas Blass, a leading authority on the work and career of Stanley Milgram and the author of Biography of Milgram, The Man Who Shocked the World, has received all the research and social implications stemming on Milgram's obedience studies. Many believe that Milgram will be an amazing psychologist and has made history with this experiment forever. So remember, Stanley Milgram has given us all a new view of obedience. He is truly the man who shocked the world.